show, some point during the day, they stop and say.
No. They don't stop in the middle of the thing. They do.
No. So they stop. They sometime in the middle of the day, they say, somewhere, my mom says,
I made Isaac laugh.
You made him laugh, and Julie made him laugh like 4 different times because she said like the vampire thing made him laugh, and the high school and the junior high school thing made him laugh. So yeah. But at some point during the day, they just stop and say, you know what, today I'm really thankful for this. And my dad says, okay, today I'm really thankful for this.
It's better. It wasn't where I was going.
Yeah, I know. But the idea, my mom was telling me about this in the way when I called her before I came over here, and I was like, so what is the deal with this? And she said, there's a lot of studies. They looked at people who were like really pessimistic or really optimistic and asked them to like tell people what was on their mind. And then they studied sort of the physiology of these people. And it turned out that the people who were...
You're ruining the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. We can talk about all of this during the show if you want.
Don't you remember the rule of radio? You don't do it the first time. It's always best the first time.
Oh, okay. All right. Ready? Yeah. Oh, you bet.
This is the Brandon Smith Show. I am your host, Brandon Smith, and the purpose of this show is one singular thing, and that is to make your life a little less dysfunctional and all that much better. And so today we're going to be taking on that purpose, and we've got a particular path we're going to go down. We are going to be talking about gratitude and the importance of gratitude. And I'm here to welcome my guest, Tom Smith. So, Tom, thanks for coming.
Very well.
Yay,
thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Tom, did you notice my shirt today?
I did. I noticed that you got a nice, incredible shirt, black shirt. It's very nice.
Last time you came on the show, since Tom's a regular, last time he came on the show, he was wearing a Dwight Yoakam T-shirt.
I know.
And I want Tom to feel a little more comfortable. So
thank you.
I'm in my T-shirt today.
That's nice.
So we're talking about gratitude today. Now I know this isn't, as an economics professor, this isn't necessarily right in the middle of your wheelhouse, but I know this is a topic that you brought to me, and I totally agree with you. I think this is an awesome topic. So just before we jump into the topic and go into the nitty-gritty, for the folks that haven't heard you or seen you before, give a little bit of a snapshot of kind of what you do.
So I'm an economics professor at Emory University. I'm actually in the business school, so I teach finance and economics. I do consulting on the side for companies looking at their finance and helping them make better decisions. So that's what I do. I'm a former musician. I was a professional musician since I was like 14 years old. And so, and a husband and a father. And I take all those things seriously. I've mostly retired from music now, but I did play a little gig the other day. I'll talk to you about that.
Okay. So you wear a lot of hats.
I do.
But none of these seem to fit perfectly with gratitude. So tell me a little bit about how I got this voicemail from you this week where you said, dude, we've got to do this show on gratitude.
Yeah. So last time I was here, we were talking about a little bit of chaos and sort of like economics and chaos and what have you. And evidently a lot of people watched it, including my parents. And hi, Mom. so I was talking to my dad. Shout out to Mom and Dad. Shout out to Mom and Dad. You gotta love the shout outs. So I was talking to my parents, and my dad said, I really like the show, and I like the T-shirt, and he commented on the format and everything else, and the sort of the little go between that you and I have. And then he said, you know what would be a really great topic would be gratitude. Like he said, your mother's idea. My mother is a clinical psychologist, and she was a.
I like her already.
Yeah, she was a Spanish teacher for many years, and she has, oh my gosh, more degrees than most people on the planet. I mean, she's got degrees in Spanish and Spanish literature, and she has a degree in art, and then she went on and got her degree in psychology, and. Part of her ritual and her and my dad's ritual is that they have a moment during the day where they say, look, they sort of stop and say, you know what, this is what I'm thankful for today. Like, this is what I'm grateful for about our lives, So
about the other person. So it's not just, hey, I'm thankful for the sky today. It's not necessarily that. It's more about, hey, I'm thankful for this life we have together.
It could be any number of things. When I was talking to them, my mom said, look, it might be that we're really grateful that, our grandkids are healthy, right? Or they watch my brother's dog, and so they're like, we're really grateful that we have the opportunity to hang out with this little dog every day, because the dog is fun, right? Or we're grateful that, that my mom said, it's starting to get nice in Illinois, and so they're like, we're going to start our garden pretty soon. I'm like, that's great. Like, we really look forward to that, and it's just so nice that we're going to have that to look forward to. So it could be any number of things, and I think that's one of the things that most of us miss, and why I thought, hey, it's a great topic, because you talk about curing dysfunction, trying to make your lives and your workforce and your workplace kind of less crazy. And I think sometimes you just have to stop and just go, you know what, like, that's really crazy, but this is what I have going for me, or this is what was working.
This is interesting, because this is a different direction than I thought you were going to take it.
Okay,
I thought you were going to take it like how we can give gratitude to another person. And which it can be, but that's a subset of what you're going. You're saying we can it's more of a mindset.
It could be.
It's in general just like, hey, what do I have, and how can I be thankful for what I have?
I think I was under the impression that it was more of the former myself.
Yeah.
Until I talked to my mom and had a little bit deep conversation about that. But I think that it can be both, right? And so I think that in a work environment, let's say, that maybe you're curing dysfunction by identifying the people who work around you and how they make you more productive, and by acknowledging that, like being grateful that they're doing their jobs well, or they're adding to your productivity. That's something that we miss all the time when we're in work.
Okay, all right. So let's try something.
Okay.
Let's build this thing together.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so I'm going to throw in the first one.
Okay.
And then you throw back another point.
Okay.
And we'll go. So here's my first point.
Okay.
So one of the things that I found in research around high-performing teams is that the highest-performing teams give each other positive to negative feedback at a ratio of 5 to 1. So they're giving gratitude to each other.
Yeah.
Like appreciating each other, positive feedback. You did a great job. Good to have you on the team. Awesome. Now, what's really cool about that ratio is the Gottman Institute, which studies marriages and personal relationships around the globe. They found that in watching couples that have been together a really long time, they give each other positive to negative feedback. When they sit down and watch them interact with each other and they code what they say, they're giving each other positive to negative feedback at a ratio of 5 to 1.
Wow.
Exactly the same thing. So I love that as a kind of initial first point around gratitude. One of the things we need to make sure we're doing is, if we want people to hang with us over a long period of time and maybe even change behaviors, whether we're talking about a team we're working with, or colleagues, or even our spouse, like, you need to be given more positive than negative. Now, on that point, researchers 3 years ago studied the weightiness of negative feedback. Okay. And they found that negative feedback was worth 3 positive feedback.
Yeah.
It's that much heavier. So the break even is 3 to 1. You give 3 positive, 1 negative, you're at like baseline.
Right.
But I found since like 2008, no one's given any positive feedback. It's just like, it's just like, you move my cheese, I'm going to let you have it. Otherwise, you're not hearing anything from me.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't. Right. I think it's simple. It's not hard. None of this is rocket science.
No.
It's just about intentionality.
Yeah.
And focus.
Yeah.
But I just find that that's really lacking today.
It is. It is, and so I find that it's lacking. So let me tell you some of the things that I do and try to fix that. So I mentioned that I teach, and so I'm in a classroom a lot, and when you're a professor, you're teaching, and then you're asking people to give you deliverables, right? Some kind of homework assignment, and then you have to basically grade it and tell people what they did wrong. Like, that is tough, because it's like so easy for me to look at this and go, that's not right. That's 2 points off, 2 points off, whatever else.
Pen?
I use a green pen.
It's like all this studies that show that red is not.
Yeah, so I use green or purple or blue. I never use red. I swear, I usually get the Sharpies and I just use a green.
It's like royal feedback.
Yeah, no, it's very Mardi Gras-ish. And so
it's a royal party.
Me and
this
Prince.
Is how you screwed this up right here.
Yeah, and so that's got to be incredibly challenging to be like, you get something back and it's marked up, and so I don't do any negatives. I put positives. So I put, like, this is out of 5 points, I put a 5. If you got a 4, I got a 4. If it's 3 points out of 5, I put so it's always plus. And then I add up all the points, and I just give you what your total points are. And so even if you totally screw up something, I am looking for, is there a nugget that tells me that you know some information here? And I'm like, okay, that's good. And I'll write, that's good. Or, oh yeah, you did this right. Not exactly. And I'll say, next time, do more explanation. I'll put a little smiley face.
So people would argue you're an optimist. They would call you an optimist.
Yeah,
Is that okay? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that because here's the thing. Then they look at this and go, oh my God, like out of 60 points, I got 52 points or I got 48 points. Like I want to do better. And then they'll come into my office and I'll say, okay, look at what you did right. Like you got that part right. So I know you're smart enough to do this. You made a mistake here. So how can we fix that? What information do you need me to do to help you with that? And that's just like a much more positive kind of approach. It's not exactly gratitude. And so where the gratitude part comes in, I think, is that throughout my semester, I will be very purposeful about telling my students how much I appreciate that they're smart, that they ask good questions, that they're contributing. So if like somebody's asked a really good question, I'll go, dude, that was a really awesome question, right? And so if they have a really good point, I'll say, that was a really, really smart point that you're making, right?
So you're looking for the good in others.
I am. I think you have to.
Well, I would hope everybody would do that, but I don't think most people don't.
Yeah, I don't think most people, it's not natural. We would like it to be natural. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it is either.
I think you have to work on it. Saying thank you is really, really hard. And so, like, here's an example. Like, it's not very easy for people to point out their failures, right? And so, here's one of my big failures. But I fixed it, and I fixed it right. So I had a colleague who gave me a really good lead on a project, right? And they're like, they're looking for this kind of person. I think you're the absolute perfect person for this job. And I went, oh, okay. So I went and met with this group, and yeah, I got a little contract with this group, and I did some good work with them or whatever else. And I saw the colleague, and I was like, hey, thanks for that referral. That was really awesome. I'm working with this group.
I'm not seeing where you screwed up.
And yet. So here's the thing: is that just like seeing him in the hallway and saying, hey, thanks for that was really cool. Like thanks. And then I got back around to it and I went, okay, so this was a contract that didn't last a year. It was like 6 months. It was a really nice contract. It was a really nice consulting gig. That was probably worth a whole lot more than a attaboy. And I was like, and after the fact, I was like, oh my God, here I am like, this guy saw something in me to give me a referral. Like how cool is that, right? And I was like, and all I said was, hey, dude, thanks. So then afterwards, I went out and I did a very special thing for this guy. I had a book that was made that was like folded. It was very, very cool. And then I gave it to the guy and I said, look, here's the deal. You're a great colleague.
I've had you on this podcast a couple times now.
Yeah, you will. Actually, so I
don't know what a book folded means.
I'll have to show you. A folded book. It's very, very cool. But here's the thing, like. This guy's a great colleague, and I wanted to tell him like you're an awesome colleague. So I just like gave him this gift, and he was like, "Wow, this is really cool. Like, why is that?" I'm like, "Cause you did this thing for me. I don't think I ever really fully appreciated what you did, and thank you so much. Like that was really nice."
I think you are holding yourself to a very good standard, but a standard that most people don't hold themselves to. Because no one does this. I mean, you're putting forth all that extra effort, and I think you're right by doing it. But even like handwritten notes is one of the best ways to give someone a form of gratitude.
Oh my God,
and it's totally old school, and people don't do it.
Oh my God, and you know what? When you get it, so I've gotten this from students. I've gotten this from some of my colleagues at work. I've gotten some from my clients.
Yeah.
And it's like I open it up and I go, how awesome is that? Like you spent 2 minutes. Here's the thing. So my son, he after Christmas, he wrote a little hand note to like his grandmother and his older sibling, and like, oh, thanks for this Christmas present. That was really cool, right? And he just like gave it to him, and then Kelsey called me up and she's like, did you know that Trevor like wrote me a thank you note for this Christmas present? I went, yeah, I guess so. I mean, he said he was going to do it.